Hey everyone, happy Friday. It is Friday, December 16th, and we are here with, after a few weeks off, another Friday with Fred. Thank you for joining. Let's see, is anyone out there? If you are, please give a quick holler in the chat. And if you are so inclined to want to actually participate in the conversation, here's an opportunity. So if you want to come backstage, you want to come on screen with me, we can have an actual conversation around ChatGPT, kind of implications of AI in the space of a lot of talk lately. What does it mean for marketers? What does it mean for businesses? How much of this stuff has actually been going on behind the scenes already? And what does it kind of mean for our future of AI? What can we trust? What can we not trust? Jump in behind the scenes. I'll give you a minute to kind of take a look at this or use log in this link. You'll get signed in behind the scenes. I'll see you in the green room and I'll bring you up on stage with me and we can have a quick conversation on a Friday with Fred. I hope all of you are getting ready for a holiday season, whatever you might celebrate. I know I'm planning on taking some time off here, but I'm coming back in January with some other ones. In fact, I have a guest that we'll be having probably the first week of January as well, which I'll talk about more later. We're trying to get some things figured out, but excited to have not just me sitting up here talking about kind of whatever I really want to talk about. So if you're there, if you want at any point in the conversation, you want to kind of jump in behind the scenes and jump in, please go ahead and use that that link. So according to Fred/FWF for Fridays with Fred, we'll bring you in and we'll get going. But seeing how there are no takers at the moment, I am so shocked. I'm not really shocked, but in any case, let's talk about it. So I wanted to talk about ChatGPT and the future of content, search, and information. This has been a lot of discussion, kind of the company I work at, but also just in the public. A lot of discussions been coming around. What is Chat GPT? What is this chatbot thing? How can it start writing content? Oh my gosh, we've talked about AI forever. How is this all of a sudden real? Well, the reality is that this has been in the works for a long time, and AI is not something that is new. We've been seeing AI in the world for a long time in various shapes, sizes, and forms. But it is probably, I'd say, the first real public presentation of what a normal person can consume or can kind of understand as far as what a chatbot really is. And that is kind of, the biggest kind of hurdle, I think, is getting people to understand is that this is a chatbot. It is a thing that is not only just artificial intelligence, but is using machine learning, natural language processing, a bunch of other things as well. Let's see, I got guess what? We have users. We have a LinkedIn user. We have my friend Lisa Hinckley here for some wisdom. Hey, Lisa, I used to go to college with her. Awesome. Thanks for joining today. So chatbots and the AI and whatnot. So I wanted to kind of just give a perspective. AI has been in technology for a long time, and AI has been, one of those things that's been in various shapes and forms. If you think about the days way back when we started playing video games, and they say, "Oh, you're playing against, that you're playing against the computer." Well, that was in very early version of what artificial intelligence was, but it was really just more of a sequence of events, right? I'm going to shoot, I'm going to point, I'm going to jump around, I'm going to try and block, and it anticipated a number of sequences and actions that the user was going to take. Over time, that has gotten more intelligent. It has gotten more learning as it gone behind the scenes, and that is super important to understand. That it is not just about just a sequence of events. It is the machine learning part is what's training a set of algorithms and other computer things that are way beyond my knowledge to do more smart and important things. So Chat GPT is this next evolution of it. AI, though, has been in a lot of things. A lot of the personalization you get today are being powered by AI. If you think about some of the big players in the world like Salesforce and Adobe and Microsoft, I mean, Microsoft's actually a big investor of OpenAI, which was also founded by Elon Musk and another gentleman. They have $1 billion invested in what OpenAI is able to do. And it's actually using a lot of Microsoft's technologies, I think, behind the scenes as well, which is going to be a point we'll get to in a second. But it is it's important to kind of know that AI has been here for a while, and it has gone through different iterations. Salesforce Einstein is one. We've had IBM has got their Watson, was probably one of the more bigger ones that you've seen or heard about over the last decade. The Watson is helping healthcare organizations solve the world's most complex healthcare problems. Yes, that is all driven by a bunch of machines sitting in server rooms with machine learning driving that. But now it's not just solving world problems with healthcare or world problems with financial institutions or world problems on other really important things to solve and figure out. Now we have a system where anyone can log in and try it. And so that, I think, is the culmination of why things got really chatty over the last week, is because now an everyday user who wants to create an account at OpenAI can learn how to can start a conversation with a bot that has got a confined set of walls. This is not something that is exposed to all the information on the internet. This is not something that is exposed to anything beyond, I think, 2021. So it's not even going to be able to give you a lot of great answers. Too many companies think AI magic is a magic bullet. Understand that training is needed. Absolutely. That is 100% for sure. It is not the magic bullet. And we're going to talk about why I think humans are still important to all this. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but that is a great comment. I'm sorry for this LinkedIn user. I think I know who it is. It's probably my friend Jeff, because the last time I talked, he had this same problem. But if it is Jeff, say hi. If it's not, you can also say who your name is if you want to as well. So this is this new thing. And I say it's not new. I shouldn't say it's new at all. It is now, I think, the more public, accessible form of us trying to experiment with it. The everyday user, the everyday marketer has something to work with. And I think that's exciting. It's also scary. And we're going to talk about how that has kind of played out over the last couple of weeks from a conversation standpoint. But really, what is it at the end of the day? ChatGPT is a version of a search bot. Of a search engine. Hey Nate, that's who it is. Nope, Nate Thompson. Hey Nate, thanks for joining, man. Appreciate it. And good point. Let's see. The magic behind GPT is just how to train a model. That is absolutely true, right? It is about looking at a set of data points, refining, giving it feedback, and having it learn. So the right on home screen, it says knowledge of the world is limited to the end of 2001. Correct. Thank you, Nate. Appreciate that. So it is finite for now. But I also think it does some pretty amazing things. I'm actually kind of show you some things that it can do here in a second. But it also is not the end all be all. And I think that's an important thing to note. AI is going to continue to evolve, and we want it to evolve in many ways. There are pros and cons to all that. But it is also something that it's going to make things, it makes things better in many ways. I'm going to take my marketing hat and put on for a second and think about, if you think about all of the personalization, I'm going to use air quotes here because that's what it really is. Personalization in today's day and age cannot truly be one-to-one in today's given technologies that exist. We try, but it's still segment-based personalization. We are getting beyond the hi Fred, and that's your email address, or the hi first name when you do it wrong in emails. It is learning the data points from me and all my social interactions and taking that and starting to build a model around me. AI is the only thing that could do that. Now, stitching all your data points together, getting something like a CDP in place, customer data platform, for those that don't know. That's what companies are really striving for today. That is what the Adobes of the world are solving. The Salesforces of the world are trying to solve. Microsoft, all the different point solutions in place. When we think about companies trying to get a better one-to-one personalization, understanding Nate Thompson, understanding Lisa Hinckley, understanding Fred Faulkner, it has to take all this data, learn my behaviors, learn my challenges, learn my nuances, and then try and deliver something to me. And one of the big challenges of personalization into 2022 today has always come down to content still can't get one-to-one because I still have to do it against a persona or a set of user types to make that content valuable. You still are a buyer of this segment and this geographic and this demographic that is a female or male in this age group. I think you're going to want this marketing copy. AI now, and I think we're going to see this, is now going to be able to make my content much more personalized to me. And that is something that marketers cannot do today. They cannot market down to the person of one and create content to do that. AI is going to be required to do that. And I think that is where you're going to see things like ChatGPT and its iterations and other like solutions, because they're not going to be the only one in the game, and they're not the only one in the game, is going to help us get to value-driven personalization, where you're willing to give up the data, where you are not the product of free services, where that value proposition is going to be much more valuable going back and forth. All right, we got a couple comments here that are coming through, and that's Mike, not Nate. Mike Thompson. I apologize, Mike. Sorry about that. Okay, structured data, content jumpstart, training your AI model. Absolutely true. Structured data is super important. It's just like metadata, taxonomy, and more. Mike's on a roll here with a bunch of the stuff that he's got. absolutely true in all these aspects. You need the right content, need the right data to be able to train it. But I think this is where we're going with AI. All right. Um, so what are the risks of a really good chatbot? So again, Chat GPT, hence the name chat, is meant to be kind of a texting interface. So think about the chatbot when you come onto a website and it's like, hey, here's Simone and she wants to help you with your challenges and what do you need to do today. Versions of chatbots today, they are programmed with responses. They're off the shelf solutions. Some of them are really custom, some of them aren't, but they are some level of training and machine learning behind them, but they're kind of standard, more like understand this language, deliver this type of result, look for these hot keywords, give this type of answer, go down the tree as far as you can before you got to engage a customer service agent. Great from a can be great from a customer service perspective because it helps triage some things before it actually gets to a person. Sometimes you just want to hit that zero, go straight to the person you want to get to and talk to an operator or talk to someone. Those are all different types of things. But when chatbots are really good, I think they can solve problems. But when chatbots are wrong, they become extremely frustrating. And ChatGPT will be the first to tell you this is not perfect. Google will tell you their chatbot is not perfect either. And I think it's important to note that, GPT is not the only one that's in the game. I have an article here that basically says here, Google won't release this chatbot for reputation risk. And what's important to note about this is, there's been also the news around chatbots recently, which is, Google has theirs that they've been building. And there's this whole concept of that it went sentient, which it was starting to think on its own. Whether that's real or not, and there's a whole set of sci-fi rabbit holes you want to go down, knock your socks off. That is entirely possible. But having something go and think for itself is one thing. But what they'll tell you also is that chatbots still get things really wrong. And I think that is why when you think of Google, who banks its whole money and revenue stream off of ads and search results and whatnot, it doesn't, it has a reputation saying, where's the first place you go when you want to search for something? It's 99% of the time it's Google. So if it is not going to give you valuable information back, it's going to risk its business model going forward. So one of the things I think that's interesting that I've read is that not only is there a reputation risk, I've also read that Google won't release this chatbot more publicly into the world because if it's really good, there's no reason to go look at ads or the next page to look for stuff, which affects its business model as well. So I think that set aside, Google's got its own kind of set of challenges. Can it be really useful? Yes. Is it actually in a position to actually provide a really good search interface and make search better and chat and interaction better? Absolutely. Does it affect their business model? Yep, it probably sure does. So you're not going to see Google jump into that maybe full with 2 feet right out of the gate like ChatGPT is. But it is, I think the risks of a really good chatbot is that it takes away from some, people jobs. I think it also takes away some of the actual connectivity and connection of the human experience, which at the end of the day, when you think about customer experience, is still really important. Getting information quickly in a transactional process is one thing. Getting it where you can interact more and understand things more is also going to be super important too. All right, let's see. Microsoft Tay was a disaster because it learned what a bunch of trolls taught it. Well, that is also true. Learning is going to be an experience. You got to think about garbage in, garbage out, right? Garbage in, you're not going to get great information coming out of it. And when you train it on the wrong models, and there's an ethics thing probably behind all this as well. How do you train a model to be not biased, not affected by other things? And that is, well, that's probably the whole challenge of the internet in general right now, probably too, when you think about it. All right. Risks are really good chatbot. So I think the risks are misinformation, just like anything else. Bad information going in leads to bad information going out. And let's face it, we are a society that takes everything at face value. Just because it was published on the internet, it must be true. That is, I think, one of the risks you have of a really good chatbot. Maybe importantly, a really good chatbot that was trained wrong at the end of the day. What else did I want to talk about? I want to talk about, should marketers be worried about AI taking their jobs? If you're in content today, I think I have two realms of possibilities and opportunities here when it comes to AI taking your job or not taking your job. I get excited about, I'm going to put my marketer hat on. I get excited about something like Chat GPT in the sense of can it accelerate my content creation process? So, as an example, excuse me, I have a chat open here. So, I have a YouTube channel. I have a brand called According to Fred. I asked it to, and let's see here, like a toggle into the screen here. So I asked ChatGPT, so I can blow this up a little bit, to write a script about write a script about using chatbots for content creation for According to Fred YouTube channel. And its response was, sure, here's a script for video using chatbots for content creation for your YouTube channel. Intro. Hi there, my name is Fred, and welcome to my YouTube channel, According to Fred. Not how I would do my intro, but hey, it's the first time taking a crack at it. Today, I want to talk to you about a really exciting tool that I've been using for my content creation, chatbots. And it breaks down 1, 2, 3 sections of conclusion. Wrote this whole thing out right before I started the live stream today. Even down to the thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, I'm Fred, and this is According to Fred. So I could take this and be like, this is great. This is great. It's a great start. I'm going to use this as a portion of this. Oh, I'm going to learn it. Say, yep, give me the thumbs up. Want to write some feedback? Sure. Maybe if I don't like it, I want it to refresh it and do it again. You can actually take it, write the same thing, add more context. It'll redo it again. Like that, give it a little more description. It'll write another one. This is, I think, the power of starting content from a content creation standpoint. Would I ever take a piece of content straight up from a chatbot and then publish it? Hell no. And I think that is why marketers still have a job and will continue to have a job. Even as good as a chatbot as can be, or as you train it and learn it in your tone and your voice and your vernacular, maybe you got brand standards you want to have. It can be an idea generator. It can be a lot of other things. I don't think it should ever be the end all be all for content creation. I was reading an article on how brands might start using chatbots like this to start synthesizing product reviews on, like a Best Buy or a CarMax or some other type of site. Sure, you could do that. Are we all going to believe those, or can we be able to see through all that type of stuff? I don't know. Some of these things are pretty sophisticated. I've seen people write examples, have them write stories for their children and other interesting examples for what the chatbot can do. But I do think marketers have to have the critical eye. They have to have the tone and voice. A computer's not going to be able to do it all for you. So do I think marketers need to be worried about AI taking their jobs? I don't think they need to be worried about taking their jobs. I think it is a value add at the moment. Down the road, 5 years, 10 years from now, that will be a very different story that I'm not going to predict about. But I think today, right now, if you want to use GPT in your organization for yourself, could you use it as a starting block for content creation to keep your volume and velocity and topic generation and other things started, helping a SME get started on something and let that SME edit and react to versus starting from scratch because that person's so busy on whether it be client work or a project? Absolutely. I think this is an interesting way for you to start a content creation process, augment a content creation process. Not to be the end all be all. Flip side, I also told my son, you should never fail an English language art exam ever again if you have to write an essay, because you can now start with any topic. Write me the key themes for Romeo and Juliet, and it will start that whole process for you. I think students need to take advantage of the tools they have in front of them. I'm never saying you should cheat and, again, take a whole thing and plagiarize and write, because the content sources are going to come from different places. But man, if I were a student in today's day and age and I saw this stuff, you'd be making some of your projects a heck of a lot easier just by starting blocks from this. All right. So comments coming in from Michael. Many online news and sports articles are already created by AI chatbot today. Probably very true. Yeah, we still have journalists, writers, and editors. Yep, 100%. I think you're busy. It's going to be the busy work that's getting done by AI and adjustments made by humans. 100% agree with you on that, Michael. Stuff is getting created today. We probably don't even realize it. Some of you probably can tell, because even if you were to actually read this script that I have up here, it's pretty bland. It's not in my tone and voice. If I were to read it, I'd probably have to do 2 or 3 maybe major edits just to get it into my point of view. But it is a starting point on how I could actually script out a video, or script out an essay, or script out a blog post, all possible in today, which I think is actually fascinating and I get excited about. So let's see. What else do I have here? I have We're gonna skip out of that. So where do humans really matter? I think Michael just mentioned it, right? We are the editors. We are the journalists. We are the ones that have to take a critical eye to content that's coming out and make it better. Um, and I think that's really important. Marketers aren't going to lose their job. Writers aren't going to lose their jobs. I think it's going to evolve. I think we have to evolve. Welcome to, um, welcome to a new world of having to deal with, of job evolution. Absolutely, 100%. Um, but we should also be looking at then taking that, like any knowledge worker, and evolving your job and evolving your skill set that goes with that too. Because this is not just going to be, I'm talking about just writers and marketers. Chat GPT can do code review. It can help you debug code. There's a ton of use cases that are out there beyond the marketer content, which I'm talking about here. There is a bunch of other use cases you can think about that you can apply to this. And I think that's important, that this is not just a content challenge. We are entering a new world of information creation. So programming, content. OpenAI was also the group that did Dolly for the image and art, exploration. So give me a dog with 12 legs in the shape of an alligator, and it does its own thing. There's lots of questions around copyright and that type of thing that goes in. What was it trained on? Is it going to do some level of plagiarism as it goes along the way? I think it's an important thing to think about. You're right, Michael. So 30 students doing a report in the same subject, all have the same intro and use the same AI tool. That's entirely possible that has happened. Even if you refresh it, how many different refreshes can it go through, and how many different iterations can you make it unique to be delivered on that? So, but that's also code, right? How do you refresh your code? What's new and unique about it? That's where the humans still come in the matter, right? I think needing to have that human, we are critical thinkers more than anything else. I think that's an important thing to say. Humans are critical thinkers, and humans are the ones that are going to take the emotion, the other storytelling aspects about it. I think a chat bot is only going to get so far before it's just going to be too sterile and too plain that it can't get to where it needs to go. So I think as humans, we need to be prepared to evolve our practice and our trade, but we're not going to be replaced by it by any stretch. Let's see. I probably missed a comment here. Excuse me. But it sounds like Michael and Jeff are talking. GPT is great for story problems, multiple choice quizzes. Show your work part. Cheating will be too easy, probably. But also, who's going to have a Chat GPT interface on their computer in the middle of a school doing an exam? Probably not. There's going to be also access to it as well. So I think there's also that component to think about. By the way, not sponsored, but I would totally take a sponsor from Liquid Death. If you're out there listening, let's talk. I know you're not, but still, it'd be fun. All right. So we've talked about humans. We've talked about marketers. We talked about some of the things behind the scenes. Let's talk about the other aspect of this, which I think is really interesting, which is the challenges of natural language processing. And that is a big part of what's driving all this stuff behind the scenes. Natural language processing. What is going on? How does the programs and the writing understand human language? We have slang, we got different language, we got dialects, we have key words, we have all these different things that are taken into place that are driving what's behind the scenes. Now, natural language processing is also come leaps and bounds, forward when you think about what's been used. Just look at Google Assistant, just look at Siri, just look at all these things. Yes, don't talk to you. Of course, my phone wants to think that I'm talking to it right now. It's listening for these things. Like it's Google and Apple and Microsoft and insert how many other different, Nuance was a company that got was a foundation for Siri. These are all technologies that have been working on natural language processing for decades. And there's more decades left to go as we continue to evolve this. But if you think about what Google could do with real-time translation, we think about some of that type of stuff. That's all natural language processing. But it's also now having to dissect it down into the text format, which is also why I think Chat GPT is interesting as a text interface and not a audible interface or some others that are out there. So it will be interesting to see what OpenAI is doing. How does that get applied to audible natural language processing? Does Google or Microsoft need more of that? Again, partnership with Microsoft already on this. So you got to wonder what NLP things are going on with their whole set of cloud services and solutions that are available. But this is just like the birth of what I think is going to be really interesting moving forward. But again, we think about how this all works. Natural language processing, if I can say it correctly, is all behind the scenes. It's what's driving a lot of this beyond the other machine learning and other aspects that go with it. So, all right, you know, lots to kind of dissect, and I've only scratched the surface, and probably should have had a better set of notes to kind of think through this. But I really just kind of want to talk about what's going on here and why it got popular. I think why it's been popular in the press these last couple of weeks again comes down to it's been publicly accessible. You can try it yourself in a way that doesn't require a computer science degree to figure it out. So, yes, and I also think secretly behind the scenes, this is just one more thing that is trying to like push things forward, whether Elon's behind it or Microsoft and Elon or whatever that might be. It is it's an interesting time and day and age when we are seeing this evolution of AI. So I am going to unless someone's got another point they want to bring up, I'm going to wrap up this with a quick hot take, which is
this is an According to Fred hot take.
So we are entering what I think is going to be the next evolution of the information age. This is what ChatGPT has shown us over the last 2 weeks, and in your own experimentation and your own playing around with it, is that the game has now changed. It's actually been changed for a number of years and continues to evolve for, as we year over year, and some of the master, like the big marketing technologies that I've used and experienced from Adobe and others, where it could take a picture and identify that it's a Sears Tower in Chicago. It's black, it's a skyscraper, smart tagging, all these things that kind of like build out around images or text or content. Again, big players out there, small players out there, all doing this type of stuff. But we are now really getting into the evolution of the information age, and that change in trajectory, what ChatGPT is bringing us to, and seeing the change in trajectory is doing, a handful of things. One, it's going to accelerate what I think is going to be more valuable personalization from brands to consumers. So I'm going to put my, that marketing hat, brands and consumers, the actual getting to a one-to-one, the personalization of one, that dream is becoming much more real because I can use now data. I'd be willing to give up data, more data maybe, to have more contextualized, more personalized, more real value delivered to me from brands I care and love about. So one, I think that is a big part of it. I think two, the acceleration of content and how it can be letting creators like me and others have access to create more, thoughtful research. I'll use air quotes research. That is one thing that ChatGPT is not doing sourcing. We need to keep some of those journalistic standards in place, but it is a content acceleration component to all this. But it's from an information age is also now continuing to show that we need to continue to evolve what an information creator and an information seeker really is. Who's creating content, the value that content creates, the value of what the AI is now showing us and being able to do jobs more efficient, more effectively. I don't think it takes away the human element of this, but we are entering a brand new information age that is exciting. It's scary. I didn't even talk about a lot of the other risks that are out there. Again, bad information, misinformation, our own personal beliefs on how we actually take content from certain sources of value. And you can look at all the different, right wing, left wing, middle of the road, whatever that might be. The internet's the greatest place in the world and it's the darkest place in the world at the same time. That will just now get exponentially compounded by this as well. So risks that go with it, but excitement that goes with it. If I'm a college student coming out, or I'm a student, or I'm coming out and going into the job world, knowing how to use these tools to be able to help my companies accelerate their ability to gain more profits, reduce costs, reduce risk. It's exciting. It's an exciting place to be, but it also comes with a word of caution, right? And we are not there. I think this is just the spark that's going to light a larger fire, but it is not the end all be all. And we are certainly not there today. There's a lot more road to go. There's a lot more experimentation to happen. There's a lot more trust and feelings that we have to go through and how we feel about all this. But it is, we've entered a new phase and we're seeing it in real time. And that is my hot take. ChatGPT is one of many AI bots and chat bots and AI machine learning tools that are out there. This one just happens to be getting the attention today. They're not the first and they won't be the last, but there are certainly ones that are backed and certainly ones that are, there's certainly one that is out there that's getting attention. And that is what we need for evolution and change. So that's my take on ChatGPT, the future content, search, and other information kind of things. Thanks for joining me on for a Friday with Fred. Michael Thompson, thank you very much for joining, my friend. Lisa Hinckley, thank you for joining as well. We will catch you all on the next one. Take care. Have a great holiday, everybody.